Welcome, everybody, to Season 2 of Live Life by Design. Happy 2025 to everybody. And today we have a special guest, all the way from Puerto Rico, by the way.
Yep.
Agustin Resach. How you doing, brother?
Amazing. Super happy to be here. Excited.
Thanks for being on, and thanks for making the trek to be in the studio and grace us with your knowledge and your experiences of life. So one thing I want to start off with is the word of the year. So this is the first release of 2025, and what we do at Live Life by Design is we encourage our viewers to pick a word that helps define your year. Last year, my word was conquer for 2024. Conquer your physical, your social, your intellectual, your spiritual. And then this year, 2025, is celebrate. Celebrate the wins. Celebrate the trials in life, because trials end up being blessings once you figure out that they're there for a reason, and once you figure out that life is happening for you, not to you. So, Agustin, and he also goes by Tintin, that's his nickname. So I'll be referring back and forth, Agustin and Tintin. What's your word of the year for 2025?
I choose to be accountable for everything that happens in my life. So I think that's the word for me this year.
Accountable.
Accountable,
that's the word.
Yep.
And then what we're going to do is get you a bracelet that says accountable. So every time you look at your wrist, you look at your bracelet, it's that reminder to hold yourself accountable. So what do you want to hold yourself accountable to?
Everything. I've learned in the past couple of years that if you expect things from life, you need to be accountable. You need to make them happen. You need to be the one that owns everything that happens in your life. So I think that is the word. I think that is it.
Okay, and then just for everybody here, when did you and I first meet?
It goes way back. So that's gonna let people know our age. So I think we met in the third grade.
Fifth grade.
Fifth grade in back in school.
In third grade, I was still living in the Dominican Republic.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So we met in fifth grade in our school, Coupeville, small town in Puerto Rico, San Juan. And I think we played some basketball together, and in between other things while we were getting in trouble.
So literally from fifth grade all the way through 12th grade. And then when did you meet your wife, Nilka? When did you guys first meet? So
Nilka actually studied with us, and I met her. I remember her, I think, by the fourth grade or fifth grade. So we've known each other all of our lives. And then we started dating, I think, when she was 15. I think I just turned 16. So,
wow. So you started dating at 15/16. How old were you when you guys got married?
24.
What a cool love story.
Yeah. Still together, love of my life. Super happy. She's always there for me, and we have I wish people would have the happiness that we're able to have. Our relationship is very special, so I love her.
And then how many? Oh, that's sweet. And then how many kids?
I got 3 kids. We have a 21-year-old Nadia, 15-year-old Naila, and then I got 13-year-old Frank.
So we have Nadia, Naila, and then Frank.
Yeah, Frank the Tank. Yeah.
It's just like me. We got, Jeffrey. Just one of those more basic common names.
Yep.
So, my wife, Shamile. Then we have Julian. We have Joaquin. We have Magali. We have Areli. We have Valentino. And Jeff.
Yeah.
Just one of those
names.
mean,
people ask me, so we're Latino. We live in the States. When we have our kids, they're like, "Is that your boy, Frank?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's Frank."
Yeah.
So,
well, in Puerto Rico, it's not Jeffrey, it's Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
So it was actually kind of a cool name growing up in Puerto Rico, because it was different from a lot of the other names.
Yeah, everybody that knows you, I think here in the States, people have called you Papi all the time.
Yeah.
In Puerto Rico, he's Jeffrey.
Yeah,
very it's not
different
Jeffrey,
sounding.
it's Jeffrey.
Yeah, it's Puerto Ricanized.
Yeah.
Now, you said we live in the States, but you don't. You
No.
You live in 2 places.
Right.
So tell us about that. Where do you where do you reside? Where do you work? And what business are you in?
Okay, so, well, my main home is in Florida, but I live in Puerto Rico. I've been living in Puerto Rico for the past year, working. I am in the solar industry. We have a business called Solar X, and we do mostly door-to-door. We knock doors. That's the new
market strategy.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing all sorts of things, but basically our strength is door-to-door. And
so why did you choose the direct-to-home strategy? Because that's a newer strategy to you, and we'll get into that too, but why go direct-to-home versus all the other marketing strategies?
So almost 3 years ago, I started really looking into door-to-door. I thought it was kind of, I don't know what the word is, maybe old. Archaic, yeah. So I wasn't into it, but then I started reading.
Did you almost feel like it was beneath you? It's like door-to-door, what is
100%. I thought like...
Because what's your trade?
I am an architect by trade, and I've been in construction forever.
You own your own construction firm.
I have my own construction business since the year 2000. And I got out of construction and got into door-to-door. So the way it happened, it was kind of funny. Because I never thought I was going to be able to knock doors. Because I remember that would be something like if you study architecture, which is what you were meant to be, because your family said, hey, go study something, go to the university, get your degree, and you get this traditional job. Even though I had my own business, being an architect, it was very nice. I loved my education, but at the same time, you think you're expected to get your customers go to you, and then door to door would be like I would have to go to them. So that was something new for me.
But think about it. Did they really come to you, or did you have to go after them in architecture?
I mean, I think.
Were they lining up at the door? Hey,
no,
please,
they weren't. They weren't. But the way you see it is, I have a degree. People need to come to me for help.
Sure.
And even though that's not the way it is, and I always criticize that. I have nothing against universities. I love my education. I think when people ask me, should I get a degree? It depends what it's going to do.
What do you tell your kids?
Well, I actually let my kids decide what they want to do. For instance, I have my 21-year-old. She's amazing she's studying in FSU. She's doing well. She was actually built for the university. Like she loves it. But I've always told her, you're going to learn all these skills in the university, but none of them are going to help you make money in life. Mm. So that's when door-to-door comes into my life, which it was pretty recent. And knocking doors, you're actually going to the customer and selling or making business out of nothing.
Sure.
Okay.
You're creating it.
You're creating it.
Yeah, so let's go back. So when did you first discover the direct-to-home strategy? Walk us through it.
Well, I will have to mention you.
Let's go.
Okay, so, well, I'll take it a little bit further. I remember when I finished graduating and I had my degree and I was working with my construction company. I was doing pretty well.
And this is all in Puerto Rico?
This is all in Puerto Rico. And I remember meeting with you. You were always my homie. We were always getting together, meeting. And I remember you saying, I would ask you, hey, Mendez, what is it that you really do? You say, hey, we knock doors. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, there's no way.
Poor guy.
Like there's no way. But I knew you were doing well in life. So I wasn't questioning it that much. But in my opinion, it was like, that's a crazy job. Like, not everybody will do it. I still think it's a crazy job.
Sure.
It's not. Yeah, it's not for everyone.
Thank goodness.
But I think I will have to go back to, and I've told this story. I tell this story to my boys all the time. I went back. You invited me to a mastermind that you had
in Lake Powell.
In Lake Powell. you asked me, hey, Tintin, I think you should come with me. You're gonna meet a lot of people in the solar industry, and I was like, hey, I don't have time for it right now. So you insisted, and eventually I decided to go, and I think that trip changed my life. I met all sorts of people. I saw the industry and what people.
Who were some of the people on that trip? Let's name some names.
Well, Michael O'Donnell.
Michael O'Donnell.
Yeah, he's my friend now. I love the guy. Alex Smith was there. Brady Ward. There was Josh Loser. There was a lot of the people that we had groups from. There was a couple of sales reps that had earned their way into that trip. Which there's one guy called Jet Erickson. He's still my friend, and I talked to him, and he was one of the guys that I'm like, this kid is making over $500K.
How old was he at the time?
He was 21.
21.
Yeah, and he was making over $500K knocking doors, and I'm like,
was it hard for you to comprehend that?
I mean, next thing I ask him, so what does your dad do? And he says, my dad is a pilot. How much your dad makes? And he's like, my dad makes like $250 a year. So does he know you're making a lot more money than him? And he's like, no, I haven't told him. So Jed is very special. I talk to him all the time. But he was one of the eye openers. That trip was amazing in every sense of everything. All the conversations that we had, I was able to speak to owners of solar companies, to Michael O'Donnell when Michael did his presentation about how he's going to go and make $100 million. I was in shock. So even though I've been around money all my life, like these kids talking about making $500,000, $1 million, there was a bunch of guys making over $1 million in the boat. So I'm like, are these guys doing this? And they were doing it knocking doors. So I'm like, I'm definitely going to take a look at this. I believe this was May 2021 or 22?
Yeah, 21.
21. So, yeah, and that changed my life. I started to look into solar, first of all, and then I was thinking that maybe I could get into solar without knocking doors, because it wasn't something that I had in my mind that I wanted to do. I would take then I talking to you, you're like, yeah, you guys need to go and knock doors. And I'm like, I'm 45 years old. I'm an architect, and I'm going to stop doing what I do, construction, to go knock doors. That was not easy. But that's the best thing I ever done, for real. And I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, no doubt. And I can tell you're super grateful and gracious with the opportunity. And those are the ones that harness, what's to their avail. Some people, they want to sip on lemonade waiting for phone calls to come in, or banner ads to take effect so they can, get their clients that way. But the universe or the economy won't reward you for lack of performance and lack of hustle. Like, you need to go out there and make it happen. What I love about direct to home is, you can have, a stalemate with revenue or with sales, and you can actually deploy your assets. And within a week, you have a lot of accounts popping. And you never run out of opportunities when you're willing to go create the value for your customer. I say this all the time. Dollars follow value, not the other way around. So when you go direct to home and you have a value prop that's way better than what they currently have, people say yes to that. And people will honor your efforts that you're willing to go to them with your blood, your sweat, and your tears to go create that account. Yep. Like, when people come to my house, I buy everything that's presented to me on a direct-to-home front because I respect the hustle, of course.
That's amazing.
We probably have like 12 pest control contracts, like contract on top of contract.
I'm going to have my boys knock on your door.
You should. We'll buy it. And even if we don't need it, we'll still pay full price, even though we're not receiving the service. That's just the karma that we believe in.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you had SolarX for?
Well, we've been working as a team in Puerto Rico for a year now.
A year now?
Yeah.
Okay. And how is the market in Puerto Rico? Obviously, Puerto Rico, just for people to understand, it's in the Caribbean. It's United States Commonwealth. It's 100 miles this way, 35 that way.
Correct.
Small island, about 3.2 million
Yep.
residents on the island. And there's a big issue with the power company called Luma.
Yep.
So tell us about the market, tell us about the opportunity, etc.
So Luma is just like, say, any other electric company in the States. It's just a utility. They, in fact, have the monopoly in Puerto Rico because there's only one. Some states you have the ability to change providers, not in Puerto Rico. And then Puerto Rico is special in the sense, special in a bad way for Puerto Ricans, good for the solar industry because the power grid is extremely old. Has been hit by hurricanes, and the way to provide power to the families in Puerto Rico it's really bad. You have power outages all the time.
How often do power outages occur?
Enough so that you can't have a normal life without a generator.
Is it weekly?
Weekly, for sure.
Okay, so just understand, it's 2025. You're at home, and your power is going to go out. The chance of your power going out during the week is 90%?
Easy.
Okay.
Easy. And if it's raining, you know what's going to happen. So a little bit, there's a joke in our island that people say that the hurricane is coming. It's 800 miles away from Puerto Rico and the power is already out. Because
It's so fragile.
Yeah, it's super fragile. So, and then for the solar industry, it's an amazing market. We need batteries in Puerto Rico, so when you sell a system of panels, you just can't do it like in some of the. It's just not for saving money. You do save money, but at the same time, you're providing people with a electric service that's perfect compared to what they have with
So when the power goes out, your battery takes over, and you still have power.
Correct.
Okay. How does that differ from the generators that people have on the island?
Well, first of all, generators were the only solution up until now.
Okay.
Up until recent. When you have a generator, you need to maintain it, especially in a time of, let's say, a hurricane comes and now there's no power. So, yeah, you have your generator, but you need somebody to maintain it.
Fuel it.
Yeah, fuel it, and then fuel becomes scarce because when a hurricane comes to an island,
everybody's shopping for fuel,
and then there's nothing coming in the island. Everything is shut down. So, so you might have a generator, but 2 weeks after, it's like very hard to keep it rolling.
How long does a generator usually last for?
It depends on the size, but basically,
like with one fueling, how long can I keep my home powered?
Yeah, well, if you have a nice size generator, it could run you for 12 hours.
That's it?
Yeah,
that's
that's
it.
it.
I have to refuel it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So it's worse than a car.
Yeah, it's worse than a car.
Yeah.
And it's going. If you're using your house the way you use it, it's going. Like it's burning fuel. So a battery, we have tons of different options, but basically a battery, you install it, and when the power is out, it just automatically turns on. Then if you have enough battery, it'll start going down, but by the time it's ending, the sun comes up and it starts recharging.
Regenerating.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So I mean, is it when you're selling this specific product, how do you feel inside? Like, is it kind of mission driven, or is it just all about the money, or which either answer is fine? I'm just curious.
It's a package, man. It's all in one. Like, of course, I will always say, if selling airplanes would be a better gig, I would probably be doing airplanes.
Sure.
But when you go and sell solar to a family in Puerto Rico, you're actually helping them have a better quality of life. Especially the population in Puerto Rico it's 70% older people.
Sure.
And you have
respirators.
Correct. You have
insulin.
People that need medicine, that need equipment that cannot be without power. So sometimes when they have trouble, they need family members to go to their homes and help with the generators. This is basically plug and play.
Wow.
They don't have to worry about it anymore.
Okay.
So,
and then how about install time? How is install time looking with the Because you're using local installers, obviously.
Yep.
What are typical install times?
Our
right
typical
now?
install times are 10 days.
10 days?
Yep. We from point of sale to install, 10 days.
Wow. So it's a good value prop for your customer base.
Correct.
Okay.
And for our sales rep.
And how big is your sales org right now?
We have about 110 guys.
And they're all going direct to home?
Everybody's going direct to home.
Do you have any marketing campaigns like online and things like that as well?
We're starting some of those. We have the door-to-door pretty dialed up, and it's working. We have like different reps. They do their own personal things using Facebook, Instagram.
Sure.
And it works. But at the end of the day, every time you're paying for media, social media, you're earning less money. So you're paying for that.
Yeah. So listen, that's marketing, right?
Yep.
Marketing allows you to get softer doors, if you will.
Correct.
So even if the other companies that you're quote unquote competing against in Puerto Rico, if they're doing marketing, guess what? That's benefiting you.
Yeah.
Because you're going in there and scooping up those accounts because you're willing to go direct to home. When I'm assuming your competition doesn't really go direct to home.
No. There's door knocking in Puerto Rico, but it's very limited. And it's our little secret because that's a skill I learned in the States. But we teach our guys to knock doors the right way, and it works.
And by the way, the laws of marketing state, the more people are familiar with a product or a service, the more apt they are to buy.
Yeah.
So once again, that's benefiting you guys. You guys are scooping it up.
Like the island is all over, like social media. You turn on the TV, you see
Everything
all the
is solar.
Everything is solar. Like because it's a solution to a real problem.
Any idea what market penetration is?
I think we're about 8%.
Okay, so a little bit higher than the States.
Yeah.
I think the States is 4 to 5, and then Puerto Rico's 8. So still tons and tons and tons of room. Plus you can do adders and all that good stuff.
Correct.
Okay, so now I'm going to switch a little bit to Spanish. So if somebody wants to be a part of SolarX, what do they need to do? How do they get a hold of you? ¿Cómo te pueden contactar?
Bueno,
¿Cuál es la oportunidad?
Bueno, yo le digo a todos, cuando las personas están buscando trabajo, normalmente es porque quieren un cambio. Y cuando quieren ese cambio, muchas de las veces están en una situación financiera apretada, ¿verdad? Nosotros tenemos la solución para ese problema y yo le digo a los muchachos de nosotros, oye, los problemas tuyos se resuelven con 20, 30 mil dólares probablemente. Y todo el mundo me dice, la gran mayoría me dicen sí. Bueno, pues en esta industria tú te puedes buscar ese dinero en un mes o 2 meses. Así que si me dan la oportunidad, yo les digo, si me dan la oportunidad...
¿Y la gente te cree cuando le dices eso? ¿Se creen que está exagerando un poquito?
A principio era muy difícil. Ahora yo tengo un truco. Yo lo que hago es que le digo a las personas, ¿quieres ver lo que hacemos? Los llevo a la oficina y los pongo a hablar con los mismos muchachos que están haciendo lo que les estoy pidiendo que ellos hagan. Entonces, cuando hablan y se dan cuenta que hay personas, tengo tantas personas que han cambiado su vida en 3, 4 meses, que se dejan llevar por ellos y muchos vienen, algunas personas no lo creen y aunque les digas, no lo van a creer tampoco. Pero la realidad es que en esta industria hay mucho dinero, pero no es un dinero fácil. Es un dinero que tú te tienes que trabajar porque muchos de los problemas que hay en Puerto Rico cuando le dicen a las personas, mira, te quieres ganar 200 mil, 300 mil dólares al año, nadie te va a regalar ese dinero. Tienes que ir a buscarlo. Pero nosotros tenemos las herramientas para que las personas puedan venir a nuestras oficinas, les enseñamos cómo es el proceso, les enseñamos a tocar puertas, a debatir objeciones y cómo pasar de una persona que no sabía lo que era la venta de puerta a puerta a ser un experto en menos de 2 meses.
¿Y cuáles son algunas de las historias que tienes con los vendedores que tienes ahora mismo?
Tengo varios a lo mejor.
Éxito.
Sí, tengo varios a lo mejor. Tengo 2 que me vienen siempre a la mente. Tengo a Omar, que nosotros le decimos cariñosamente Omar Uber, porque Omar yo viajo mucho a Florida y agarro un Uber y estoy atendiendo llamadas del negocio y está hablando de la industria solar en el teléfono y cuando me voy a bajar, él me dice, mira, Omar me dice que es el chofer mío. Me dice, mira, perdona que te moleste, pero tú trabajas en la industria solar. Y yo le digo, sí, yo tengo una compañía acá. Y me dice, ay, ¿cómo es eso? Y yo, como hablo con todo el mundo de esto, ¿verdad? Siempre estamos buscando personas. Le doy mi tarjeta y le digo, si quieres hacer dinero, me llama. Pero yo he hecho eso muchas veces y no me llaman. Y entonces Omar me llamó el lunes y me dijo, ¿qué tengo que hacer? Y yo le expliqué. Omar vino, me dijo, mira, su situación era una situación bastante difícil en términos económicos. Tenía 2 trabajos y hacía Uber por la noche. Y yo le dije, si tú me haces caso y si aprendes este taller que nosotros te vamos a dar, yo te aseguro a ti que en 2 meses tú no vas a estar haciendo Uber. Porque el dinero que te va a entrar de acá es tanto que no lo vas a necesitar. Y él me dijo, confío en ti. Vino y bueno, pues Omar es uno de nuestros mejores vendedores y creo que llegó segundo en una competencia que tenemos ahora. Creo que se ganó un bono de $5,000, $6,000 en adición al dinero que se ganó. Entonces tengo otro muchacho. Oye, tengo muchas historias, pero tengo este muchacho que se llama Eduardo, que se peina así bien bonito como yo, y llegó a la oficina por un tercero. Y como esto llegan muchas personas y pues tú no necesariamente te haces amigos de ellos en buen tiempo. Pero él fue buena gente conmigo, me caía súper bien y lo vi progresando rápidamente. Y vi que, o sea, iba a todas las reuniones, practicaba y de momento estoy viendo su nombre en el tablero todo el tiempo, consistentemente mejorando. Y 2 o 3 meses después de eso, estábamos precisamente teniendo una conversación como esta de algunas personas que le había ido bien. Y él dijo, permiso, mi historia es la más importante de todas. Y yo le digo, no, tranquilo, lo que llevas son 2 meses haciendo dinero y yéndote bien, cógelo con calma. Y me dice, no. Es que, Tintín, tú no entiendes. Yo tenía mi casa 3 meses atrás. Wow. No tenía negativo $26 en mi cuenta. Wow. No tenía dinero para comprar, ni tan siquiera comida. Así que eso, yo soy un sentimental y se me aguaron los ojos y cuando lo cuento me emociona un poco porque la realidad es que tenemos muchas personas que ayudamos así. Pero Eduardo es un monstruo, de verdad que... Y le va brutal, de bien, así que...
Entonces, la preparación que alguien tiene que tener para poder ser parte de SolarX, ¿cuál es?
Mira, básicamente una persona que lo que necesita es tener ganas de aprender. Si tiene experiencia en ventas o no, no importa. Creo que una de las habilidades de nosotros como compañía es poder preparar a una persona de cero a llevarla en 1 mes y medio a estar dándole bien duro en la calle. Así que no tiene que tener una preparación necesariamente. Eso no garantiza el éxito.
Tiene que tener, me imagino, disciplina, esmero.
Disciplina, ganas de hacer dinero, ganas de aprender. Tiene que ser consistente. Perdón. La realidad es que este trabajo es más disciplina que otra cosa.
Sí, consistencia.
Consistencia. Tienes que ir todos los días afuera. Es un trabajo que tiene mucha libertad.
¿Y qué pasa cuando está lloviendo? Porque en Puerto Rico llueve mucho.
Tienen que salir a trabajar porque si tú te ganas X cantidad de dinero todos los días. Cuando tú estás en un trabajo regular que te pagan de 9 a 5 de la tarde, puede estar lloviendo y tú tienes que ir a trabajar.
Seguro.
El problema que tenemos en las ventas puerta a puerta es que...
mucha libertad.
Mucha libertad. Entonces, si no tienes esa disciplina, es muy fácil. Peor aún, mira lo que nos pasa mucho. Tenemos un muchacho que tiene todo el talento del universo, le enseñamos, sale a vender, se gana $10,000 en 3 o 4 semanas y se cree ahora que no tiene que trabajar más. O sea, se pone incómodo.
Sí. Como dice en inglés, satisfied needs don't motivate.
Exacto. Una de nuestras metas, nosotros como líderes, es que ellos vayan a las reuniones 2 veces en semana para mantener esa consistencia o esa importancia de explicarle a los muchachos, tienen que ir a trabajar todos los días, no importa
Seguro.
Si está lloviendo.
¿Y dónde están las oficinas?
Pues las oficinas de nosotros quedan en San Juan. Se pueden comunicar conmigo al 561-639-3979.
Repítelo una vez más.
561-639-3979. Y también pueden seguirme en la página mía de Instagram, Tintin Solar Pro. lo vamos a poner por aquí.
Perfecto.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Now let's switch back to English. What's your favorite part of your business? Like when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing that pops up in a gratitude sense in regards to what you do in solar?
Well, it's two things.
The reason I asked the question is I can tell that you have a lot of significance with what you do. Like it gives you that connection, that love. It gives you a lot of certainty. I'm just curious, like what's that that keeps you going and growing?
There's two things. One, that even more than helping customers, helping our reps.
Which are your customers, by the way?
Yeah.
Which I'll ask you this question, and you know the answer, by the way, in which I'm asking it. But who is your most important customer?
My sales guys.
Your sales guys. Yeah. Because if you don't take care of them, guess what? They aren't going to take care of the person that's on the other side of that door. So they're your number one customer. If you take care of them, they will take care of the end user.
100%. And I understand that part of the business very, very well. I think taking care of them is what gives me like the strength to get over there every day, like keep working, grinding. Seeing the success of a lot of people, not only my success, but a lot of the people that work with me, seeing them grow. For me, there's nothing that pays more than that, and I mean that with the bottom of my heart. The other thing is that
what's crazy is your check will always be taken care of if you're making sure that their checks are taken care of.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Again, dollars follow value, not the other way around. If you're so tight-fisted and you're only worried about me, you're never going to receive the things that you ideally would love to receive. Yeah. But if you can help enough people get what they want, you will always in turn receive what you want. That's just how it works.
Yep. And like I was telling you earlier, I used to go out there because we're starting the business. I would go out there and close a bunch of deals myself.
Sure.
At this moment, it's very hard for me to go and close deals. So
why is it hard for you to close deals personally?
Because I need to be taking care of other stuff in the business, and I need to be feeding my closers and the people that work with me. I need to be there for them. So they're taking care of the work.
Which is interesting because I'm assuming that by you closing your own deals, the money that you would make from that is astronomical in comparison to farming them out. But you're building an enterprise, you're building a machine, so you have to feed the people that come in so that they can grow and bring other people onto the platform.
Yep. And then as the business grows, which is the second point I was going to say, I think one of the things that keeps me awake is the emotion and the power that I know we are building a powerhouse. And I see it every day grow and grow. At the beginning, I was basically asking people, hey, come over and work. Right now, I feel that we are like, we don't need to have everybody there. I just look at the people, we work with them. If they're good, we'll keep them. If they're not great, they're not going to stay.
Sure.
What we're building is a bunch of guys that are very good.
What's your goal? How many reps do you want on the island?
I feel we will be... First goal was 100. We already did that. I think our next goal is 400.
400?
Yeah.
So 4X.
Yeah, 4X. And then we'll talk about the other one later. But I think we will definitely have 400 people by summer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be in, that position? And 2021 to now, how does it feel? Can you believe it, I guess, is the question I'm trying to ask?
Yeah, you believe it. Now I believe it because now I see it. Maybe when we started out a year and a half ago, it was a little bit harder. I thought we were in the right place. But if you ask me, 3 years ago, I had nothing to do with the solar industry. And right now, it's my life. I love it. And it's going to be my life for the next couple of years.
Only 2 years?
Nah. I think for the next 10 until I retire.
Okay, cool. And then just to make sure that folks understand, and, if you want to mention your age, you can mention it or not mention it.
If I mention my age, I'll mention yours.
Okay.
Because you're older.
Yeah, by 2 days. How old are you?
I'm 48.
48. And how old were you when you knocked your very first door?
45.
So 45 years old when he knocked his first door.
Yeah.
And look at the energy, the emotion, the conviction, the happiness of I mean, you're still an architect, but of a
ex-construction worker.
Well, owner.
Owner,
Because you owned your enterprise. And just look at the giddiness behind it. So if you think you're above the doors, if you think that it's beneath you, you're wrong. You're extremely wrong. And by the way, you thinking, I need to get off the doors, that very form of thinking is your problem. And you will never get off the doors because you're trying to skip steps. Like if you become enamored with the doors and infatuated with what those can bring, you will dominate in this industry. But if you're trying to cheat the law of the harvest will beat you to it. It's undefeated. So don't skip those steps. Like you basically are having to get ripped off the doors because of the growth that you're seeing. You know, when I left being on the ground all the time and building my own teams, my team had to force me to quote unquote get off the doors. You're never really truly off the doors. Yeah. But in that day-to-day grind, I had to get peeled off the doors because of the growth that we were experiencing, because I didn't want to get off the doors. And if you don't want to get off the doors and you just love them, then they will treat you with that respect and you will be able to grow your enterprise at astronomical levels. So once again, don't cheat the law of the harvest.
No, and I talk to my kids now, and I think every youngster, anywhere from 18 to 25 years old, they should go out there and knock doors, because the experience that you get trying to deal with every single different homeowner, which you see people of all races, you see people that are of all religions, they think differently, and you have to go there at the door, knock, and say hi, and you're gonna try to negotiate with these people. It gives you such a power. It gives you such different tools that you use those for the rest of your life. Like right now, probably I'm not knocking doors physically at the moment, but I'm knocking doors every day. You know, I knock doors trying to look for more opportunity to bring people to our business, to grow the business. It's a grind, but it's a lovely grind, and I totally recommend it. I tell my kids, you guys are gonna knock doors, and I wish I would have learned. I always tell you should have told me earlier to go out there and
hey, maybe you weren't ready. Who knows?
Might be. But, you know, knocking doors will change my life, and I think every kid should go out there and just grind it out a couple of summers and learn those skills. They're gonna
imagine if everybody in Puerto Rico and the U.S. would knock doors for that period, that 18 to 25. How much different of a world we would live in.
It's a whole new level. It's like a university. Like I tell people when they start asking, hey, I haven't had that much luck this week, so and so, and I'm like, brother, how many doors you knocked? They're like, oh, well, I knock 20, 25 doors per day. Do something. Go out there, knock 100 doors every day for 2 months. That'll be your university. I don't care. Just go out there, do it, and you'll be like in the Matrix. You'll see other stuff. You'll see things that you weren't able to see before.
Yeah, so love that.
I recommend that.
No, it's funny how guys and gals will complain about the results they didn't get with the work they didn't do.
Well, yeah.
You know? Or even I just laugh when people say, Mendez, I have a hard time building teams, recruiting. And then I ask, well, how many recruiting appointments did you go to this week? Oh, 1 or 2. And like, yeah. I mean, if you had 2 appointments and you got 1, I mean, that's 50% success. You're batting 500.
Yeah.
Like, you're just not at the plate enough. Like, you need to be running 100 recruiting appointments a week.
Yeah.
It's just a numbers game, just like doors. Like, if you want to sell more accounts, you knock more doors. If you want to build bigger teams, you got to go to more recruiting appointments and be in more recruiting battles, right?
And the funny thing is that when you knock more doors, you become an expert. And every time you need to knock less doors to get better results.
Yeah. And the other advice I would give is get your nose out of the books.
Yeah.
Like, sure, read. We all love, reading. But what's really going to teach you and give you that expertise is by doing it.
Yeah.
Okay? You can't just practice the theory. You got to get into the practicality of things.
Yeah.
Okay? So now you mentioned parenting, and you want your kids to knock doors. Now let's give me some of and I ask this to almost all the dads out there.
Yeah.
But give me some parenting advice, things that work well for you, things that may have not worked well in the past. We say this all the time, the scariest hood we'll ever go through is parenthood.
I was going to say that.
But
one of my best friends says that all the time. It's like, scariest hood is parenthood. Well, parenthood is the toughest job I have. It could be easy sometimes. It could be very hard. But they say that the day you have your first kid is the day you never sleep again. It's so true. I have my daughter, the 21-year-old. She's out of the home, but still, we check her out on our app and see if she's home. She gets back to her house. If she's safe, we talk to her all the time. And I feel that with my other two that are in the home, it's very important to have great communication. We talk about everything all the time. Family time for me it's something that we are not gonna. It's non-negotiable. It's time that we need to have, and I think communication with your kids all the time. You need to know what they're doing. They're different stages right now. I have a 13-year-old, and I have a 15-year-old, and a 21-year-old that they're doing worlds apart of things. So one is getting ready to go out there and work, and the 15-year-old, she's finishing school. And then I feel with Frank, we're starting right now. So I would guess if I had to give an advice to people that are going to start their families, I would say be there when you're there. And it's not a cliche. It's when you're with your family, take the time to listen and know where they're at. And I think if they trust you, you need to earn that trust. It's not being their friend. Yeah, you can be their friend. You need to be their parent. But when you earn their trust, you get to know exactly where they are in life, and they can always surprise you. And I think one of the worst things a parent can do is say, "Not my child." So always be attentive and always be checking what they're doing and what they're not. So your family keeps right in the right way.
How do you build that trust? You mentioned trust.
I mean, it's literally hanging out. Literally hanging out with them, taking the time to be with them and just talk and share special moments. If you have more than one kid, take time for each individual kid, because they're happy to have their siblings and they're happy to share their lives with everybody, but they're a special human being on their own, and they need to feel that they're special. So to have that time, like, it doesn't matter if it's an hour, just go out there and have a pizza, talk with your kid and ask them, let them speak to you, so that you know what they're doing, what makes them happy, what doesn't make them happy, and that's the way you're under trust.
Love it. Yeah. What makes you happy?
Wow. A lot of things make me happy. Friendships, my family, my wife. All in all, I love humans. I love learning experiences. I love building. I think I have a very happy life, for real. I say this all the time. I wish people knew that happiness is not something that you get. Happiness is something that you make. You need to be happy within, so that you can help others be happy. That's the way I see it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Have you read The Happiness Advantage?
No.
Sean Aker?
No.
It's what you just said. It's you choose to be happy.
Yeah. 100%.
Some people think that once they get a certain something, or once they reach a certain something, then they can be happy. But what Sean Aker talks about, he says that happiness is the precursor to success, not the other way around.
Right.
In other words, if you want to truly be successful, you must first be happy. think about it. You said that you love humans, you love, hanging out with people, etc. Do you love hanging around with pessimists?
No.
Or with like...
I tell them all the time, first change and then we'll hang out for real. I can't have people that are pessimists, negative people. People are people. It's not always 100%, but what we were saying, how can you make the people around you like you? It's not going to be being a pessimistic kind of guy. It's not going to be saying that everything that's going on wrong in your life. No, if you get stuck on that, I have problems. You have problems. The thing is that you need to accept those, work with them, and be grateful of everything that you have.
It's like we always say, you think you shouldn't have any problems is the problem.
Exactly. Right? I love that, by the way.
As simple as that sounds, it's very true. And I think people avoiding problems, they get into their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself is the problem.
Yep.
There's nothing noteworthy, nothing story-worthy happens in the comfort zone.
Yep.
And as soon as you leave comfort, you're going to be dealing with fear.
Exactly.
And then you get into learning, then you get into growing, etc. That's awesome. Great feedback there. As far as what makes you happy. Now let's talk about leadership.
Yeah.
As you've been leading teams, leading your business, what are maybe the top 3 things that you do as a leader to make sure that the people that you're leading their minds and their hearts are captured? What do you do?
Well, I would say first of all, they need to know it's going to be hard work because they see that I'm working super hard. I don't let other people take care of my stuff if we're not dialed in and they know exactly what their role is. I will say that.
So you let them know that it's very difficult.
I let them know it's hard.
Okay.
And that they have to do their work. I would say that leading by example. You hear this all the time, like leading from the front. I would say I'm that kind of guy. I'll go out there and do the work so that other people see that it's possible.
A quote that I love is, you viewing the workplace or your teams or your business from behind a desk is the most dangerous view in the world.
For real.
You have to get out from your desk and be with the folks.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, the very best business leaders and coaches and players are leading from the front. They're not leading from a high and mighty stance. They're there with the troops. They're in the foxhole.
Yeah.
And those are the people that you really want to charge with. Okay, so you let them know it's difficult. You lead from the front. What would be number 3?
It would be allow people to be seen and heard. That makes them important, and it makes you a great leader.
Okay.
I've heard some people say that people do not leave companies, they leave leaders.
Sure.
So if you're on the right path, people would not leave you.
Okay, and why is it so important for people to be seen and to be heard?
Well, because like I was saying when we're talking about the kids, every single person is an individual. They need to know they're important. They need to know that they're giving something as the whole thing grows. Mm-hmm. They need to know that they're part of it, and they need to know that they're important.
Yeah. What's interesting is, as a dad, if you're just reprimanding your kids when they do things quote unquote wrong, guess what they're going to do? More wrong. Because you're seeing them and you're hearing them when they conduct that kind of behavior.
It's attention.
Yeah. So one of my mentors taught me, when I asked them the question, hey, what do you do as a dad that has worked well for you? He says, Mendez, this is very tough. But when my kids act up or when they do things that they shouldn't be doing, as hard as it is, I ignore.
Wow.
And why do I ignore? Because kids, they want us to be seen and they want to be heard. And the way they spell love is not L-O-V-E, it's T-I-M-E. So if I'm spending my time reprimanding them,
that's good.
And that's when I pay attention to them, well, guess what, Mendez? They're going to do more of that stuff so that I pay attention to them. Because if they're good and I ignore it and I don't applaud their accolades and I'm just watching TV or hanging out with my friends, then they're not going to care to do good.
Yeah.
But if I pay attention to them when they're doing bad things, they're going to do more of those because that's finally the attention grabber.
Yeah.
So with me, I try really hard to follow that advice, and it works wonders, by the way. So when my kids will act up or do things that they shouldn't be doing, I bite my tongue.
Which is hard.
Ignore. Very, very difficult. And then all of a sudden, when they do something awesome, I do it authentically, but I triple down. I'm like, that's so beautiful. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. Tell me more, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And man, it works. It works wonderfully well. I mean, the way you and I grew up, you know, our parents were reprimanders. You know, they're very strict.
Everything.
And everything lenient, everything by the line. And, you know, I think we would often act up and seek that attention.
Yeah.
And luckily, I learned that lesson decently early on as a parent. And what's interesting is, you know, I got 5 kids. My oldest is 24. Youngest is 12. So I have a 12-year gap of learning, right? And we've talked about this, but the way we're parenting Valentino is very different from the way we're parenting
100%.
And you can tell the massive difference in their behavior.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting journey.
Well, yeah.
And it's sometimes it's very lonely, even though there's 2 parents, because it's woof. But it's
like
it's
everything
beautiful.
like everything in life. If you want anything to be very well, run very well, you need to pay attention to it. You need to
water it.
You need to put the time into it.
Yeah.
You want a great business, you need to put the time in it. Nobody's going to do it for you.
And listen, we talked business a lot on this show, you know, but why do we do what we do?
For the family.
It's not for the money. If anybody thinks we do these things for the money, like, you're missing the point. Money, it's a byproduct of the value creation in the marketplace. And what the money truly does is it's freedom. It's freedom of choices, freedom of time, freedom of mobility.
And for what?
And freedom so that you can actually provide your family with a beautiful experience and opportunity. We have one life to live, period, end of story. And that's why we hustle. That's why we grind. But if you lose sight of why we're doing what we're doing, that's when you get into trouble. But and listen, that's why I say you have to wake up twice every day, at least twice. Once in the morning as you get ready for work, you go hustle, you go do your thing. Then when you come home, call it 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whenever it is, you got to wake up again. You put the CEO role to sleep. That's done. You leave your phone in your car. You come into the home, and now you're Mr. Husband, Mr. Dad. You're approachable. Yep. You're not the C-suite guy anymore. You're there, right? And by you doing that, you're actually living that truly fulfilled life that I believe we're all genuinely seeking, even though sometimes we lose sight of it.
Yeah.
So if your significance is all built on your company and not your family, you got it twisted.
Oh, 100%.
And the more you focus on your family, guess what? Your business is going to flourish. It's going to
boom,
right? And you can do it all. Like, you can be a triple double. And it's just putting the priorities in order. Okay. So again, your word of the year is what?
It's accountability.
Okay. So what are you going to do to make sure that you're more accountable in 2025? And everybody be thinking of your word that you chose as well.
Yeah.
Again, mine is celebrate. Because quite often things will happen in life and we don't take time to celebrate the wins. In order to get more wins, you have to celebrate what God, the universe, has already given you. Okay? Quite often, we're not thankful for the things we've received, so how can you be open to receive even more? And by being in a position of being willing to receive, you're also willing to give because, you're open. So I want to celebrate a lot in 2025. Doesn't mean we're going to throw parties every night. It just means celebrate life and be aware of the miracle of being a human being, and be aware of the miracle of living in this very opportune time. Sure, there's a lot of negative news. There's people that are worried about what happened in this last election. There's a lot of uncertainty. But if you really peel back the onion, things are beautiful right now.
Yeah.
If you love the beauty to come in, it'll be there. Yeah. Whatever you tune into is what you turn into. I choose to celebrate. I choose to live in abundance. I choose to believe that scarcity is the world's biggest lie. It's not true. This is an abundant, opportune time, and we must harness that and live life to its fullest and celebrate all the beauty that's around us. So what are you going to do to be more accountable?
I think you have to just design it. You have to plan for it. It's not just be accountable when something good or bad, when something just happened. It's just you have to plan for it so that you're accountable, and it helps you be accountable at the same time. So I think, especially being in the show, designing what is going to happen helps you a lot with life. And I think that's what's going to help me be more accountable.
Beautiful. And then my challenge to you is go back home, have Nilka come up with a word of the year that'll help shape and define her 2025.
Okay.
And do the same thing with Frank, Naila, and Nadia.
And we'll get the bracelets.
And you get the bracelets. And just make it happen. Make
That's
it beautiful.
perfect.
And then next year, same thing, so forth and so on. The reason why I think the word is magical is it's simple. It's one thing. It's one word. It's easy to remember. Okay? It can be your guiding light for all 365 days of 2025. And then the next year you pick another word that helps, elevate you and live more of your life.
I like it.
Okay?
I like it a lot.
Much love, brother. Thanks for being on the show. That's a wrap.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Much love. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah. Peace.